Good evening to everybody in chat. I hope everybody is doing well. My PC seems to have fucked up quite a bit lately because every single thing has been changed. Every single input in OBS has been changed again. This was actually going to be the stream of last night, but I had to do it today because I had to take care of the dogs again because people are just fucking stupid nowadays. Yeah, we are going to talk about the climate in Pokémon games, and I haven't seen a video done on this, so hopefully this will be a good one. Because climate in Pokémon games is something that has been in my head lately, and I've been wanting to do a video on it for a long time. So what are we going to do in this video exactly, or in this stream, whatever? We are going to be looking at every single region thus far, so that includes Paldea, even though we don't know any Pokemon, or we actually do because the leaks have been confirming every single fucking Pokemon. We are going to be talking about the region itself. You know, would it physically be possible in the real world to exist? And there are certain things that I will be going over, but honestly, let's just start at the start, shall we? So here we go. I have an in paint, of course, and we have Kanto right here. Eric. Fuck. What are you doing here? Out of all people, what are you doing here? I'll eat in like 1 minute. Okay, so it's hi Rick and bye Rick. Okay, well, what are you gonna eat anyway? But regardless, here is Kanto. And Kanto is kind of just a flat region overall. It's just a couple routes, a couple grassy trails. Oh, you don't even know what you're gonna eat. Oh, that's good to know. It's just a couple grassy trails, a couple mountains, and then we have the Indigo Plateau over here. I don't really think it's higher up. It's on a mountain, but I don't really think that is anything to to say that, oh, this is worth it. But Kanto is kind of flat, so there's nothing really to talk about it. This is kind of more tropical area, and yeah, the rest is flat. There's no snow whatsoever, even though I think there's only one ice type. Well, there's two. We have Lapras and we have Jinx, but there wasn't really any ice typing back in the day. So yeah, the Kanto is really just bland when it comes to that, and I'm glad that Johto came in because of that. So it was Johto. That's Johto. No. Oh well, that's kind of a small thing. Oh well. Yeah, okay, this isn't really gonna work, but unfortunately, this isn't gonna work properly. But Johto is flat as well, but it did include Mount Silver. I don't know if Mount Silver is actually part of Johto or Kanto. I think it's part of Johto, I want to say Kanto, or the Indigo Plateau is both Johto and Kanto. But this is also kind of flat. Both of these regions are supposed to be in the middle of Japan. The first four regions are provinces of Japan, and I'll showcase that after Sinnoh. But when it comes to this, there isn't really a snow. Well, there's a snowy area around here, if I do remember correctly. There is a snow. You have the snowy path as well. But that's the only thing snowy around here. I don't know why that is the only part snowy. But these two are supposed to be both Johto and Kanto are supposed to be in the middle of Japan. If I remember correctly, I'll showcase that in the map we have of Japan with the regions in it, and then we'll see. But the climate in both Johto and Kanto is really just regular, I would say. It's not hot, it's not cold, it's just both. Winters are decent, summers are decent, autumn and spring, yeah, they exist as well. You have Olivine over here. There's nothing really. There's nothing to say about these regions because they are just flat. But we do have the Sinnoh ruins, or the Sinjo ruins over here somewhere. I don't know where they are exactly, but these lead to Johto or Sinnoh, from Johto to Sinnoh, and Sinnoh is supposed to be up here. And it says in the entry, when you actually located the Sinjo ruins, it actually states that if you go to the deepest part of this cave, you can actually find yourself going into Sinnoh. But it's probably going to be around Mount Coronet or something. It's probably where you're going to end up, or Twin Leaf Town. I don't know. I really don't know. But yeah. Sinjo is located in the most northern part of Johto, which means that it's also going to be a little bit more snowy over there, because Sinnoh is snowy as well. You probably won't see that in Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, but Platinum actually has more of these little edges. Fuck, what kind of edges are they? The snowy patches everywhere in Twin Leaf Town, in Sandgem Town. You can see them. I always thought they were sand patches, but they were snow patches. But that was just my 7-year-old imagination. Next up is Hoenn, and this one is actually a little bit better. Why are they all so fucking small? I hate it when they are so fucking small. Hoenn is actually a bit better. This is located in the most southern part of Japan, meaning it's more tropical, because it's, if you know where Japan lies on on Earth, then the southern part is probably going to be the most tropical, considering the fact that it's around the middle of the middle belt of the Earth. Meaning that this is indeed more tropical, which means that a volcano makes sense that it is here, and a lot of water makes sense that it is here. Unfortunately, this is Hoenn. Hoenn is plagued by a lot of water. And yeah, that's also where the meme came from, 7.8 out of 10, too much water. Fucking IGN and this shit. But the thing is, I think that they actually had to make this balance because of Groudon and Kyogre. The water guy and the earth guy, basically. So to keep it in balance, 50% land, 50% water. But the thing is, Pokemon already has a lot of water in regular games, so why the fuck would you make it 50%? But this indeed has tropical climate, because we in the next one we have the Battle Resort located over here, I want to say. In Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. It's somewhere over here. It's located over there, and it has a tropical vibe to it. Pseudopolis has a tropical vibe attached to it. They all have that tropical vibe attached to it. It's, like I said, it's the most southern part of Japan, so this is probably going to be the most tropical one, and you can also see that by the inclusion of the volcano and another mountain here, but there's no snow anywhere from what I can recall. Is there snow anywhere? No, not as far as I know. I'm currently just checking, but there's a lot of jungle here too. That's kind of a jungle. Also found in the Amazon, of course. The Amazon in Brazil and everything has a jungle, for example. So yes, it would make sense that there's a jungle in a sunnier setting, where it's jungle vibe, because Fortree City is located in one, if I remember correctly. And yeah, then you also have Pacific Lock and what was it called again? The spaceship thing, and then yeah, the leak is over here. But it's all just summer. But when we go to the next one is where we actually find the fact that it's getting colder. Here we go. This is probably one of the best ones thus far in terms of quality. You can clearly see that this is snowy, this part of it. This is snowy. You can clearly see that. And you can also see that the mountaintops of Mount Coronet are snowy as well. Especially this part, of course. This is a little less snowy, which I don't really get. But yeah, there's two snowy parts, and it makes sense. This also has a very colder climate, which is also located. But the thing I don't get is that there's a swamp right here. If I don't think if it were to be real, honestly, though, the swamp next to mountains, I think it's possible. But the thing is, it's just too cold of a climate. The thing is, for me, can a swamp make do in a climate like this? In a cold climate like this, because you have Canalave here, you see, I think you can see snowy patches around Sandgem Town, Twin Leaf Town, as well as the lake. There's a lot of over there. And then you also have, well, I don't know about the Battle Park, but also around Mount Coronet itself, you can see I want to say Eterna City. And you might think that this is a desert. Oreburgh City isn't a desert. Why did I make that? Here we go, now Medic. Okay. Oreburgh City isn't a desert. So it makes sense that it's actually there, because Oreburgh is a mining town. Oreburgh isn't a desert, even though it has a lot of sand and earth and everything. But it has nothing to do with a desert. There's also no desert here clearly visible, except for the most northern part, which is over here, which is called the battle area, or as they like to call it in Japanese, so I don't know, something like that. But this is the most northern part of Sinnoh. And the thing that I don't get, we have Stark Mountain over here somewhere, which is an active volcano, which has an active volcano. The thing that I don't get is this, the Snow Point City lies over here. You know, this is Snow Point City. The thing is, it's in the same belt, in the same line as Snow Point City. But why is this tropical and why is this winter? Is that even possible? You know, because they are on the same length on the Earth scale. How is this possible that the battle area is tropical and that this part is from Snow Point and as well as Mount Coronet and the rest is just more wintry, I would say. You know, how is that possible? That I don't think that would be real, but maybe that's a thing that I'm working on in my mind right now, and I've been looking at for the past few days. Maybe it's because fucking, what do you call it? The active volcano. If you go to Stark Mountain, you can also clearly see the ashes falling down because it's active. Maybe that has some influencing in the climate. I'm not sure about that, honestly, if that's really the case, because I would say that is actually the case for this situation, considering that the rest is completely widened out by Snow Point. You know, it's completely white over there, but over on the other side with the battle area, it's just this. You know, it's weird for me to look at this and just say, like, why is this a summery setting and why is the other part a snowy setting? So that's why I think this wouldn't really be real, but maybe I guess it could be. I'm not saying it is, but you could say that it might actually be the case because of the volcano, because of Stark Mountain being active, and that just warms up the climate automatically around, I would say this vicinity somewhere over here, which is, you can clearly see it. It's the leak, and this. Yeah. But from Gen 4 onwards, it actually starts to make less sense. But I also want to be... I do not want to be discussing Gen 4 for too much, or go over this one for too much. Here we have the first 4 generations in total located. So here you see that Sinnoh is part of the... Yeah, well, the most top, or the very top of Japan. They are, like I said, they are based on provinces. I have no idea which ones they actually are, but still. You know, I have no idea how the provinces are called, but that's besides the point. But here you can see it's on the most northern part, and if we go to Google and we put in Japan, hold on. We just put in Japan and we just go to Google Maps for a bit. And then let's take a look if the Earth is still flat. No, it's still a sphere. By the looks of it. Oh no, wait, the Earth is flat according to Google. Well, fuck me. Japan is located on... is it around the same? Oh, it's somewhat more southern compared to the Netherlands. Because I live over here. And if I take a look at that, then... Yeah, Japan is actually more southern. But the thing is, I think Russia in general... together with the entire part of North and East Asia, has some type of wintry. I would say that this part of Russia especially is just much more cold, and I think Japan also has the same things in the winter. You know, that they have a bigger problem. But this is where it's based on Hokkaido. I think Sinnoh is based on Hokkaido, on the province of Hokkaido. So we also have Akihabara, I would say. Although I do not want to Fukushima. Is this the province or? Sendai, Tokyo, Japan. Saitama? Shizuoka? But yeah, this is where Hoenn is based on. Let's just go back to Paint for a bit. Yeah, it's all the first 4 regions. And you also have the Oblivia. I don't know what this is from, so we're just gonna cancel that straight away. Oh, fuck. We're just gonna cancel this. Elmia is Pokemon Ranger. Then we have Fjord. This is also Pokemon Ranger, Pokemon Battle Revolution. It's really such a still region then. It's just a big circle. Wow. Okay. But then we also have Or, which is from either one of the Battle Revolutions. And then here we have Kanto and Johto. like I said, which are housed around the middle of Japan, and then we have the most southern part of Japan, which is more tropical. Also, the Orange Islands and the Sevi Islands, which makes sense because the Orange Islands are also having a tropical climate. But from Gen 4 to Gen 5, things start to make a little less sense. Because here we have Unova. And Unova, I've never looked at Unova as part of Japan because Unova is based on what the fuck, the United States. When the fuck didn't I come to think of that earlier? But here you see how the United States actually works in terms of Unova. We have a little, well, this part here, I guess I don't know what that actually is. It's just regular, I guess. But then all of a sudden we have a desert here. It makes sense because the United States, United States also has this in real life. You have the Grand Canyon, you have the Rocky Mountains, which is completely, let me see. If we take a look at this, it is possible, because here you go. You have Nevada and everything in Utah, and here we have the Rocky Mountains, which basically go through all these. I don't really know if the Grand Canyon is in the same wavelength as the Rocky Mountains. I want to say it is. And I also think that the Rocky Mountains go all the way up to here. Although don't take my word on that, because it's my geography is kind of fucked up lately. But yeah, we see a big desert here, which makes sense because Las Vegas is literally housed in a desert. But as you can see right here, we have the greenery over here, and then we have the yellow over here. The thing is, this doesn't make sense. This doesn't go from deserts to savanna or wasteland to green again. Nimbasa City is just green all over again, which makes zero sense in terms of a climate and environment standpoint, especially with fucking Castilia City laying down here. And then Unova goes all the way up, even worse, to be honest. But trust me, you might think Unova is the biggest offender here. It would make sense that these mountains to the right and left are snowy. The thing with this is that they are completely snowy. Not just a little bit, they are completely snowy. It would make sense that mountains have snow at the very top. This makes zero fucking sense. How are these mountains over here just regular mountains and these are snow all of a sudden? I would say that makes no sense, but again, I'm no fucking witch doctor. I'm no doctor at knowing how mountains work. I'm no mountaineering engineer or whatever. But yeah, I don't think this works. And then just go back to grass afterwards. It doesn't make sense. Unova makes zero fucking sense. From a Pokemon standpoint, it makes sense because you do want the desert Pokemon to live somewhere. You do want the ice Pokemon to live somewhere. And you do want the rest of the Pokemon to live somewhere. If there's no desert, then yeah, where are the desert Pokemon gonna live? If there's no ice, where are the ice Pokemon gonna live? For example, where can you even catch Jinx in the first game? I don't even know anymore. But then we go to Gen 6, which is even a worse offender because that's Carlos, which is based on northern France. And if you take a look at this, why is it small again? If you take a look at this is just northern France all over again. It starts to make less and less sense. They include, I think this is kind of a small region compared to the others, because I think there's about 10 towns. Late in the later games, they house a little less cities. Yeah, the amount of cities has been reduced to about 10 or even 8 in some cases, compared to the older games, which are housing 12, 15 of cities and towns and everything. But Carlos makes zero fucking sense as well. Most of these actually make zero fucking sense as well after the 4th generation, because France doesn't work the way it works. They keep including a desert in the middle of nowhere and then just keeping it there. It's like, we gotta make a desert. Okay, fine, here. This part also makes zero sense to me. I don't know why they didn't do this in the much more southern part where the Pyrenees are, or I guess you could say that perhaps these are the Alps. Maybe that's it. These are the Alps that are going along this line. makes sense, kinda. It makes zero sense on why there's mountains literally everywhere scattered in between. But it's there. Then we also have this town where the second gym is. We have Lumios in the middle, of course. And yeah, then you just have this snowy area over here, which, like I said, it makes zero fucking sense. Is this even snow? Because I think that Olympia is somewhere over here, right? Or am I just playing wrong on this? It also makes zero sense that there's a small stroke of snow going over here and then just going to Wolfrix Town. I don't know any of the Gen 6 games anymore, honestly. When it comes to Gen 6, I haven't played that in a decade. So I do know Dendemil Town, but I don't even know if that's the one with the windmills anymore, because there's also a Gen 5 one where you have the gym leader Bryson, which is the Ice Town. I don't even know if that's Dendemil Town, because they both have mills, you know, so fuck me. But this is, yeah, apart from the fact that the snow and the desert is just completely random, everything else just kind of works, you know. It's based on France, and France is basically wine, baguettes and everything, and yeah, they had and a lot of hedges, which are shaped like hedges, certain type of hedges, I don't fucking know. So it does work, believe it or not. It really does work. All of this does work, except for the snowy parts. Well, the snowy part actually makes sense if it's the Alps. I don't remember too much about Kalos anymore in terms of the snowy area. It would make zero sense that there's a little stroke of snow heading down to Wolfrix Town. I can't understand that for the life of me. But the desert, it's a repeat offender, honestly. Except for in Alola. Because when we go to Alola, you actually see that there is room for a desert. Alola is based on Hawaii. I don't think there's too much thought put into that, but Alola has a much better way of going about with the environment as well as the climate. Even though this is the most sunniest setting you can probably get in the entire Pokemon franchise ever, because Hawaii is Hawaii, and there's tropical storms, and the rest is just about, I think, 30 degrees Celsius on average there. But you can clearly see here that there was a lot of thought put into it. You have Ula Ula, you have I can't remember all the island names for the life of me anymore. It's been a while since I've played Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Moon. I've been sticking to Gen 4, Gen 5, and Gen 8 lately, so Gen 6 and 7 have been kind of fucked for me. But it would make sense that the islands have a tropical setting, of course. You have this, I want to say it's a volcano, although I think it's an inactive volcano. This is the first island, because your house seems to be over here. I think it was. Yeah, it also makes sense that cities, they have to scatter the cities around on the island somewhere. So yeah, then you just get a big fucking city over here. And then, yeah, there's some woods over here and some jungle and whatever. And like I said, jungle in a tropical setting is always necessary. Then you also have the volcano over here, because it's Hawaii. There has to be a volcano. There have to be mountains as well. Hawaii has, I think, a thing for everybody when it comes to it. I think Hawaii has a thing for everybody. The fire, the volcano makes sense here for the fire types. And they also did a really good job on this part. The last island you go to, the one with the desert. It makes sense that there's a little desert mountainous thing in a tropical setting, such as, fuck these little bugs on my screen, honestly though. It would make sense that there also is some type of desert, even though this is more of a desolate mountain ruins thing in a tropical setting like this. And then you also have the Executor Island, which is, it's just, but the best thing they did for me here is not this shit that's garbage. It's not this shit. It's not this shit. This is another desert. Like I said, it makes sense that there's a desert in a tropical setting. And the fact that they just did two here, that these are kind of more mountains and this is just a plain desert over here, makes sense. They are two different environmental things. And then you also have a bay where you can just do your thing. You also have, I want to say, I don't really know what these are, but these are rocky hills or something. This is kind of a swamp jungle-esque thing here. But the thing that I like the most is the middle part here where the leak is. You can't access this yet. And the thing is, when you are in a tropical setting like you are with Alola, how do you get the ice types in there? Because they have to be ice types, otherwise you get an imbalance. It's like Gen 4 not having any fire types, you know? Or barely any fire types. And then in Platinum there's 5, and in Diamond and Pearl there's 3. Flareon and Magmortar only get... No, you do have access to Flareon, Infernape, and Rapidash in Diamond and Pearl. And Rapidash and Flareon don't do shit, and Infernape is a starter. So you're basically giving the other 2 options away automatically if you do want a fire type on your team, because Rapidash and Flareon are shit in Gen 4. And in Gen 8, Flareon is better, Rapidash is still shit. Rapidash, I always call it Rapidash, so if I pronounce it wrong, I'm not gonna fucking make it right now. So what else do we got? Well, like I said, in a tropical setting like this, you're gonna need something in terms of a snowy setting. And the fact that they did this really well, unfortunately they only did it at the very end, so you don't really... You probably have a team by this point. You know, I don't think that people are gonna wait until the very end of the fucking game, or the main storyline at least, to do something to change that team. So that's why I hate it that they actually put it so far up the storyline chain. But it makes sense that there is a big hill which houses snow, where you can catch snow Pokemon, where you can catch ice Pokemon, and things like that. You know, things like Avalok, Mr. Galarian, Mr. Mime, and it's Unova, or it's Alola, not Unova, fuck's sake. It makes sense that there's snow up a mountain. Of course, it makes fucking sense. So they did it really well here. The environment in Alola is probably one of the best. They did this really well. And yeah, there's also a little mountain or cove over here, and yeah, also the water things over here. Alola has been very well balanced in terms of environment and climate. You know, because even though it's a warm climate, doesn't make sense if there's no snow up top a mountain. What's this? Oh, people PMing me also. Hold up. Okay. Okay. Well, that's for later. It makes sense that there's snow up the mountain, like really far up. You know, even though you're in a tropical setting, I don't think if you're like 2,500 meters or 2,000 feet up, you still are with 30 degrees Celsius. I think it would be -10 by then. You know, you would be in -degrees Celsius. So yes, it makes sense that there's snow up top a mountain, even though it's a tropical setting. So really well done on this. I think Alola is one of the better designed regions. Aside from the story and the Pokemon and the trainers and everything, this is probably one of the better regions in terms of diversity, in terms of environments and everything. Because, yeah, I don't really have anything to say. You know, there's no snow. You know, it wouldn't make fucking sense if this is an entire tropical setting and they would just make an island over here and then they would just put snow in here for some reason. Why would they put snow? Why would they make another island with a mountain on it with snow if they have it right here? It's only a shame that it's at the very end. And now we are on to Galar, or Galar. I always call it Galar, so don't worry about it if I do pronounce it that way. This is only the very beginning, because you also have the Crown Tundra down here. This is based on England. I don't really think I have to specify that, and it's based on England. But for those who live in England, I think we both know that some of these things don't work. They really don't work. Especially near the top here, they really don't work. But we just start off at the very beginning. They made half of the region. Like, I think we could say it's half of the region. Yeah, it's almost, I think it's 40%, 30 to 40%, maybe even 50% of the region flatlands. And then I'm also still talking about this piece right here, and this piece I'll check in later, because this doesn't count. This specific one over here doesn't count. And I'll get back to that later. This is just all flatlands, you know, it's all farmland and everything, and then you also have the wild area over here. There's nothing really to say about the wild area because it's just flat. We will be going up top in a bit. And yeah, it would make sense. Everything south of this makes sense. But when we go north, what do you see? What do you see, chat? Nobody's in chat, but still. I see a snowy area over here all of a sudden. Which doesn't make any sense now, does it? Why would this be an entire snow-covered area? Why would all these mountains be covered in snow? And these aren't, for example. Or these over here aren't. Why aren't these covered in snow? Why don't we see that on top of this? Here in Galar, I think, and also Paldea, well, trust me, we'll be going into Paldea in a bit. But when it comes to Galar, they really fucked this one up in terms of climate standpoint. They fucked this up in general, but that has been going on for the last few years now. Unfortunately, with Pokémon Games, they have been getting lazier and lazier, but we'll do a video on that when it's time. It makes zero sense for this specific part that I just put in for it to be snowy and snowy only, and just this, the entire city of London over here on top of this shit is snow free. It makes zero sense. And also the route, don't even get me started on the route. The route is just that's the route. It's that's it. That's Route 10. It's just a climb up a steep hill. I think that's the same in Alola though, but Alola actually has more going for it than Galar. It's just a climb up a steep hill, a couple trainers, and that's it. Well, you also have the Surchester, which is over here. And I get it, it's a snowy town, but the thing that makes this one really bad, really bad, is this part over here. For those who don't know, this is the trench, the desert trench. Before you actually get into Surchester, I think it's from Route 7, you need to get into a hole. I don't know how to say this, honestly. It's a hole, it's a trench, and then it's a desert. How is that desert next to a snowy area? Makes, even for my glasses, it makes zero sense. It doesn't make any sense that there's a trench with sand and a partial sandstorm, I want to say, next to a snowy area. They could have made this a snowy trench, then it would have made much more sense, you know. But going from a desert to a snow area right away, the first time I saw that, I was kind of, I didn't really know what to think, because I was like, okay, we're going into a desert city, and then all of a sudden I saw snow, and I was like, okay, game, you do you. And like I said, I get it. You need to put all the type of Pokemon that you want in. So you need a volcano or some setting to put in fire types. You need a watery area, which, trust me, there's enough in every single fucking region, especially Hoenn. You need an ice thing, and you also need a what was the last thing called again? You also need something else. I completely forgot what that was, honestly. You need a desert, you need a snowy mountain, you need a volcano, you need a water thing, and you need some forest. Yeah, I think it's forest, the ones that I was planning on mentioning. It also makes zero sense for Balonlea to be over here in the middle of the woods, and then the woods just turn into snowy mountains. You know, I mean, Balonlea has zero snow laying in it, but 2 meters behind it, snow everywhere, snow. And in front of this, we have Alistair's gym, or the other one's gym. I don't know what the other one is called because I've played Pokemon Shield, not Sword. So the fighting type gym lead, comment down below if you know what it is. Also in a desert area. And this one, yeah, also makes zero sense. And now the wild area. You know, this is more farmland, by the way. This shit is more farmland. This is just fine. The cities are fine. You know, I understand that they have walls and everything to make sure that this, you know, the climate and everything, the environment stays outside. But that's the thing. Do these walls, you know, does the Great Wall of London, let's just say it like that, does the Great Wall of London make sure that the snow doesn't go over into the city? I don't think so, but I don't see anything, because as soon as you go up from Route 10 to the snowy city, all you see is the snow just vanishes completely, and you're there up the mountain and the sun starts to shine. What? They are pulling my leg when it comes to that. And also, the wild area itself, even though this is the wild area, and let me see, let me make this yellow. The yellow area is the wild area. I think. Not sure anymore. This all is part of the wild area. They think like, okay, looks fine, you know, there's a little bit of sand over here, that's okay. There's a little bit of whatever the fuck this is, there's a couple of little lakes. The thing is, in the wild area, because the wild area is such a big part of the game, and they only have 10 routes in this one instead of the usual 15 to 20, you get really weird stuff in the wild area. Meaning every day, or every, yeah, I think it's every day, I want to say every 12 hours, but I think it's every day, every 24 hours, the weather changes in a certain specific area. Now you think, okay, there's a weather forecast. You know, there's a weather forecast. What's the problem with a weather forecast? There is no problem with a weather forecast. Why is there no problem with a weather forecast? Because the weather is being forecasted and it's gonna change someday, you know, and it's gonna change. So why not? The thing is that the weather forecast here consists out of either sandstorm, snowstorm, or blizzard, sun, or rain, or storm. Do you see the things that are wrong with that? For example, you can walk from this lake over here to this lake over here, have a sandstorm at the left lake, have a rain thing in the middle one, you know, have a storm in the middle one, and if you go to the right, you'll walk into a blizzard. How do you go from sandstorm to rain to a blizzard? I mean, I know the weather is really depressing in the United Kingdom, okay? In the UK, the weather is really depressing because I live in the Netherlands and we have the same weather. We call it the Dutch weather. We have a Dutch climate. There's a thing going on with the climate here in the Netherlands. We basically just call it the Dutch climate. People don't know how to explain this. Neither do I. But there have been days where we have had snow, rain, hail, a storm, and sun in the same day. And I think the only people that can relate to that are the UK citizens. But the thing is, we never had a sandstorm here. I mean, yeah, sure, sometimes Sahara Desert sand comes falling down, you know, because apparently that travels in clouds. I don't know how that works, but yeah, it just comes up. They just take it, the clouds just take it from the Sahara and they just put it up our asses in the Netherlands. Don't know how that works, but they do it anyway. So we've all been fucked. Now the thing is, like I said, the weather in the UK, completely unpredictable. But I don't think that a sandstorm, a blizzard, and a rain shower promptly next to each other is worth it. It would make sense that there's a sandstorm at the northern part, you know, but the thing is, the sandstorm doesn't only locate itself in the desert, it locates wherever it wants to. And the thing is, it changes every day. So you have a blizzard, and the next day you can have a sandstorm. Like, that's not literally the way it's, you know, maybe you do have, for example, if you walk an XSI from one day to the other, maybe on June 1st it's going to be a sandstorm, maybe on June 2nd it's going to be a blizzard. I don't know. Could be the case. The problem with this is, with Gala, is that it's just, they had to chuck everything in. And you can clearly see that. Because if you take a look at what part of the region is actually the region that you're playing in, it's basically not even this city. Let me see, I'm just gonna make it a red. So everything between the red lines is what you can play. And you really think, oh, it's much more than it's such a big region. It's not a big region at all when it comes to it. Gala is actually one of the much smaller regions. in terms of what you can play, because they made an entire sketch, but the amount of things that you can do in terms of playability, not that much. I think I should actually make... No, I shouldn't actually, because this is all playable, I want to say. Yeah, those are the Galler mines. I keep forgetting about that. Then you also have this part over here. And then you have that part over here is playable too. And then this. No. This is playable. Then it's also the woods over here that you can play in. And that's it. So, such a big region. And complete mountains, literally complete mountains, just being unused for some damn reason. You know, I mean, in terms of what they have drawn and what they've actually put in, it's kind of sad, unfortunately. Why didn't they use this? You know, there's pieces of land, and I'll just make these pink. There's pieces of land where I would say we could still use those. Even this here, I would still use just a little bit. You know, maybe do something with it. Even this. I mean, the south is the Crown Tundra, but we are only talking about the base game. And especially this piece of land right here. Why aren't they using more of this? You know, there's just so much hidden potential in these games. Why didn't they use this? I mean, it's not as big as the playable area. And I would also use this, by the way. Somewhere along these lines. But the red areas are the ones that you can play in, and the pink ones are the ones I would still put some things in. That's a lot. For me, at least. But the thing is, the climate and the environment doesn't make any fucking sense either. Because how do you go from a desert in Surchester, you know, or from a blizzard in Surchester to Route 7? I think it was Route 7. And then just walk into a hole filled with sand. How does that work? I mean, Anakin wouldn't like that. Honestly, if he lives in the Surchester, he would never go to Route 7. And then we have Paldea, and I haven't looked at Paldea myself either, so I'm hoping that this is actually gonna give me some insight. Paldea looks really nice. I think it was based on Spain. Don't get me wrong if I don't really know that, but I think it's based on Spain. And Spain also has a really tropical setting. And yeah, there's not a whole lot to discover over here. Honestly, though. I mean, there's a lot to discover in terms of the fact that I haven't played it yet and everything. But I think that in terms of environment and everything, this also makes much more sense than most of these. It would make sense because this is also a tropical setting, considering the fact that, like I said, it's Spain. It's based on Spain, so it would make sense that there is some type of desert theme, you know, and there's a lot of savanna lands, well, wetlands, you know, I think this is going to be a swamp, this part, and this is also going to be some type of swamp with some barren land, and this is just a desert over here. And at the very north, on this part, you have the snow area. Makes sense, you know, it's up northern, first of all, and there are mountains, so it makes sense. And then you also have a little beach area over here, so this does make sense. And it actually, like I said, the colors don't really work for me, because the first thing you see, especially in this part, is just that the desert just ends here abruptly. Why does it end abruptly? Why don't they do that transition smoother, you know, from one part to another? Why don't they make that transition a lot smoother in terms of just don't go from orange to green in 1 millimeter. No, just go from orange to brown to green, for example. You know, just showcase that there is some type of transition going, that you're on going to a different biome. But when it comes to Paldea, I don't really have too much to say about it. This makes zero fucking sense. I don't know what this is, but this makes zero fucking sense. You know, this is snow and this looks like a desert type theme, but I don't know. But it makes sense that there's a beach area and that there is a barren land area and that there's a mountain beach-ish area. I think this is going to be the biggest city. I don't want to say too much, but I think it is. I think that's also where the school is. This probably takes... I think that Paldea will probably take the usual route from you start here with your friend, then you walk blah 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 blah. There's a Pokemon Center here, then you get the tutorial for the Pokemon Center if you want it, and then you go to another route, and then you go to the big city. Big city is usually the third city in the game. Castelia City, Jubilife City, Goldenrod City, like the third or fourth one. Like I said, it makes sense that snow is on top of a mountain. You know, there's a lot less mountains here, and this is also the most northern part, so it makes sense. Unless this is part of the South Pole, you know, unless the South Pole is down here, then this should be snow, but it's not. So, thankfully for that. Also, seeing this for the first time, I don't know what this is, but this seems to be accessible too, because there's a Pokemon Center here. But Paldea, in terms of, yeah, believability, I believe this, honestly, though. Because there's not a lot of high mountains, or at least not as high as this. This is all, like I said, this is the most northern part, so it would make sense that the most northern or the most southern part actually has a snowy mountain. Unless the mountains are really high, then it would also make sense for them to have a little snow on it. And yeah, this is believable as well. There's a desert, and then there's barren. I want to say this is a wasteland. And that there's just grassy areas as per usual. I think this is going to be one of my favorite little coves to be in, if that's even accessible. But we'll see next week. But because I'm currently streaming this on the 12th of November, so we'll see. But yeah, this makes zero fucking sense to me. I don't like it when I just don't like it when people put a snowy mountain next to a fucking desert. You know, this is a theme for me. And then just put a snowy thing next to it. I don't like that one bit. I also don't know what this is. This hole in here seems to have some type of relationship in terms of the story. People also have been saying that this is the leak. I don't know. I don't care for the rest of it, you know. I mean, I just gotta check when I get Scarlet and Violet in. Let's just do that first, you know. Let's just get Scarlet and Violet before we do anything else in terms of talking about the storyline. But Paldea has been a really balanced region. I think the one that is most fucked up in terms of climate and environment is Galar. Yeah, when it comes to that, I think that Galar is the most shitty one. Because Galar is completely out of line. Sinnoh makes sense because it's the most northern part. Kanto and Johto make sense because they are next to each other and they are the central part of Japan, so they don't really have anything to go by in terms of real snow areas or desert or anything. Alola is probably the best one for me in terms of how they did it, you know? Apart from the fact that the league is the only way to get Ice-type Pokemon, you know, which is at the very end, like I said, it's also the only way to get Crabominable. I actually had the Prevolution of Crabominable on my team the very first go, and yeah, that kind of backfired on me when I saw that how to get Crabominable. You actually need it, because it was level 40 or level 50. I was almost at the league, and I was like, okay, it's still not evolved, how do I evolve it? It said, like, you need to put it at the leak, and I was like, what the hell is it? Oh, it's still not, it's still inaccessible. So yeah, but this is the problem that I have with Galar. Also, just because you have a desert and then all of a sudden you are in a snowy area, how does that even work? Makes zero fucking sense. But as that aside, Gen 6, I don't like it when they put a desert in the middle of some place, okay? I just don't like it. Especially not if you go from desert to snow all of a sudden. That's why this part is also completely garbage to me. Don't know what this is, but yeah, the rest of the region looks really nice and it makes sense from a standpoint. But like I said, Gen 1 to 4 makes sense. Gen 5, kind of weird, but it's meh-ish. Gen 6, meh. Gen 6 is meh. Gen 7 is probably the best one. Gen 8 is absolutely garbage. And Gen 9, it's also good, I would say. So I think I would rank Alola highest, Galar lowest, and the rest in between somewhere. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was it for this one. I hope you all enjoyed. I wanted to do this because I just wanted to. I have no idea on why I wanted to do this in the first place, but I think that this also just has to be noteworthy to some people, you know, on how to just look at a region itself in terms of, is it believable in the real world? I think Alola would make sense. Sinnoh would make sense. Fuck me. The other 3 regions, Kanto, Johto, and Hoenn would make sense. Galar wouldn't make sense at all. Kalos also kind of low tier, and yeah, this one is, yeah, it's good. I'm just looking at this and I'm just saying it's good. Honestly, there's nothing I really have to say about Paldea. There's some type of minor changes that I would make, but when it comes to the rest of Paldea, we'll see on how it transitions. I haven't played it yet, so I don't know how it transitions, but thank you so much for watching. Of course, I will see you tomorrow, probably tomorrow, I don't know, because I'm going to be celebrating Rick's birthday, but anyway, thank you so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed, comment if you haven't yet, follow me on Twitch, YouTube, everything, and I'll see you again next time.